Hey guys, Yuvraj here from the Brainstorm Force team, and I'm here once again to announce a brand new product update. No, it's not Astra this time. I'm announcing an update for Ultimate Add-ons for Elementor, or UAE for short. If you don't already know what UAE is, it's a collection of premium widgets for the already awesome Elementor page builder. Now, in this update, we've made a lot of improvements under the hood, but I'm here to tell you about a brand new feature that we've added to UAE, which will blow your mind. The new feature is called the Conditional Display feature, and in short, it lets you hide or show a section or widget from your Elementor design page based on certain conditions you set. Now, this might sound really simple to you, but there are a lot of options inside this feature which makes it amazingly powerful, and you have to see it to believe it. The best part about this feature is that not only does it work with Elementor's native widgets, it obviously works with UAE's widgets, but it can also work with third-party Elementor widgets, which makes it amazingly powerful and versatile. So let's head to my computer and I'll give you a quick demonstration of how amazing and powerful this feature is. Alright, I'm inside the magical world of WordPress and Elementor, and what I've done is open up a single page inside Elementor's edit view and also imported a page from our starter template library which is available for Elementor. The page looks beautiful, and let's assume I want to hide a particular section or conditionally display a particular section for a set of users. Let's say I want to conditionally display this recent episode section, which also contains episodes and a couple of headlines. And what I need to do is first find the appropriate section that I want to conditionally display, because this conditional options apply to specific widgets and also sections. So I can see the section right here, but I can also use Elementor's navigator functionality right here to find the correct section. So you can see the section contains the column and inner sections. So I'm already selected the right section. I'll click it once again just to be sure, close the navigator, and you'll see the sections options right here inside Elementor. Now, you won't find the Ultimate Add-ons for Elementor's conditional display options here in the layout sections. You'll actually find them inside the advanced options right here. Now, just to clarify, UAE display conditions is not a feature that you can only use with UAE widgets. You can also use them with Elementor's native widgets and also third-party widgets. That means if you're using any other plugin apart from UAE as well, you'll be able to use the display conditions on those widgets as well. It's pretty powerful. So let me open up these settings and I'll quickly demonstrate how easy and how powerful these display conditions are. So let's open it up, and of course you will need to first enable the display conditions for it to work. I'll enable it. It will take a second to reload some of the sections. And now you have three different options technically, or four if you count the fourth option right here. You have the two, which is the condition or the option to either display the widget or display the section or hide the section conditionally. So you can set conditions to display the widget or hide the widget. Right now, as you can see, it's set to show element. So the conditions which we are going to set will enable the display to be displayed or the widget to be displayed. And if we change the settings to hide element, then if the elements or if the conditions are met, then you will be able to hide the particular section. So you can think of these conditions as blacklist options or whitelist options. If you've used these features on your phone, you can set specific conditions for the widgets or sections to be displayed, or you can set specific conditions for the widget or section to be not displayed. Let's keep it this setting for the show element or the default option for now. And then you have the second option, which sets how the conditions are actually passed inside UAE. So the options are actually just two: all conditions met or any conditions met. Now this is a powerful feature because if you see conditions right here, by default you see only one condition, but you can actually add multiple conditions or stack multiple conditions for this final output to be displayed or hidden depending on what you select right here. But this is very important to understand. So when you select this option, or what this option lets you configure is how the permissions or how the conditions are evaluated. For example, if you set it to all conditions met, then every condition that you place right here will have to be met for this to happen. Now this can be show element or hide element depending on your settings. But if you choose the second option, then any of these conditions being met will allow the widget to be displayed or hidden depending on the settings. If that was confusing, let me go over it once again. First, you'll select what you want to achieve, whether you want to show the element or section, or do you want to hide the specific section or element, which is right here. Then you select the kind of conditions or how the conditions will be evaluated. If you select the first option, then all the conditions will have to be met for this to happen. And if you select the second option, which is any condition met, then any of the conditions being met will allow this to happen. I hope that makes sense. And now let's look at the conditions, because this is where the magic happens. This is where you get immense amount of control on how you want to achieve, or I would say show or hide the element or section you want to hide or show. So coming to the conditions here, the role 1 or the role permission condition is already added by default, just as a demonstration, but you have the option of changing it or deleting it if you want. So let's click the role option right here, and this is the actual conditions or how you configure your conditions. So inside the conditions, drum roll please, you have tons of different options to configure conditions. So you have options for date, day, user role, login status, browser, operating system, date range, page, post, static page, and time span. So a bunch of different options. Let me just quickly demonstrate what you can do with this. For example, if I select the date option, then you can select the widget or the section to be displayed on a particular date. Then you can say, come here, select a date, and then again, you can choose if the date is this particular date or this date is not this particular date. So you can have the widget or this condition being met only if the date is not this current date. For example, you might have an offer running which you don't want to display on a particular date. Then you can choose the is not option. So that's date. Coming to the day, you can have a specific day of the week where you can option or selectively show this widget or section. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all the different days or days of the week. This is another option. Similarly, you have user roles. In WordPress, you have multiple roles. You can have user roles for subscriber, administrator, editor, author, contributor, and a different bunch of sections. So you can use user roles as well. You also have login status. So if a user is logged in or logged out, you have browser control. This is pretty amazing. So you can choose what kind of browser the user is using. And we have support for Google Chrome and Microsoft Edge, Opera, Safari, Mozilla Firefox, and Internet Explorer as well. So coming to the next option is the operating system. Similar to browser, you can target users who are using a specific operating system on their device. So Mac OS, we also have support for Windows, Linux, iPhone, Android, BlackBerry, OpenBSD, and Sun OS, QNX, BOS, and OS2 as well. Pretty amazing stuff. Coming to the next option, you have the date range option. This is pretty amazing if you want to select a particular widget or select, or I would say show a particular section of widget on or between a specific set of dates. Then this is the option you should be looking for. Choosing the date range option, again, you have the option of is and is not. And once you click here, you'll have the option of selecting two dates. As you can see, the date right now is set from the 8th of July 2021 to 10th of July 2021. But again, you can just click here and go to any dates you like, and the date section or the date range will be updated instantly. And this widget will only be visible or hidden depending on your setting right here on this particular date, again depending on the conditions that you configure. Going to the next option, again, let's switch from date range to page. So you can target specific pages, post, static pages, and even time span in a particular or in these targeting options. So time span is usually also called day parting in advertising terms. So you can show a particular widget at a particular time only. For example, you have 10 AM to 11 AM. So this widget, depending on the conditions, once again, will be either visible or hidden between 10 AM and 11 AM. So pretty powerful stuff, but we are just getting started. These are just, I would say, tip of the iceberg on how you can use this option, because I haven't yet demonstrated the option of adding or stacking multiple conditions. This is where the magic happens. So once you've selected any of these conditions, for example, you have selected the time span option. Let's assume this is the settings I want to go with. I can click the add item button right here, and this will add a second set of conditions which I can again configure based on my liking. So for example, I want to say, let's choose, for example, the user role options once again. So user role, let's say, is a subscriber. So now, based on my settings, once again, I have the option set to any condition met right now. So based on these settings, just to give you an example, between 10 AM to 11 AM, user role is subscriber. This widget or this section will be visible. Now, just to confirm, since the condition or when option is set to any condition met, that means if the user is a subscriber or if the time is between 10 AM to 11 AM, then the section will be visible. But if I change this option to all conditions met, then the time will have to be 10, 11 or 10 AM to 11 AM, and the user visiting the page will have to be a subscriber. Both the conditions will have to be met for this widget to appear. I hope that makes sense, but I hope you also understand how powerful this feature is. Just a bunch of conditions from an outside perspective But if you have a website which has a lot of conditional elements, or let's say you have lead magnets, let's say you have limited time offers, limited promotional offers, this is a feature that will be very, very valuable to you, and you can use it in unlimited ways possible, because as I just demonstrated, there are a bunch of targeting options. You have time span, date, day, user role, login status, browser, operating system, and so many different ways. And your creativity is the only limit on how beautifully and how powerfully you can use this option. So I hope my explanation of the UAE display conditions and how the conditions work and how they work together and how they can give you powerful ways to show or hide content or sections on your WordPress website made sense to you. There's one little option I wanted to discuss. That's why I've changed up the settings a bit and opened the time span option specifically just to explain a little bit. In the previous demonstration, I said the time span option will give you the option of displaying or hiding the specific section based or in between a specific amount of time or specific times. So the demonstration I did was between 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. Now, people live throughout the world in different time zones. So when you say 10 a.m., literally it can mean anything around the world. How do you decide which 10 a.m. this is? Well, that's the option for time zone. So you have two options to choose here. You can choose the server time zone. That means your WordPress server will decide which time zone you're using, which is inside the settings. You can actually click this link right here. Let me open it up in a new tab just for explaining how these work for people who are not familiar on how these settings look inside WordPress. So the time zone options are inside the settings, general options inside your WordPress admin area. And you can see the time zone option right here. You might have to scroll down a bit to find this option. And on my server, it's set to UTC plus 530, which is the Indian Standard Time or IST, where I reside. So depending on your server, this might be different. And this is where the option comes handy. When you set it to server time zone, which is also the default time zone, this is the time zone that UAE will pick to match these conditions. And you also have the option of setting a local time zone. So this gives you complete flexibility on how you want to utilize even the minutest of details inside the UAE display conditions. And again, you can understand or visualize how powerful this can be when you actually deploy it on multiple sections and use it conditionally and powerfully to achieve your business goals on your WordPress website. So I've explained every option, how it works, how all these conditions work together. It's time for a small demonstration. So what I'm going to do is pause the video for a second, change some of these conditions right here, come back and explain the kind of test I'm running, and then I'm going to demonstrate how it appears on the front end. So I'll pause the video, I'll come back in a second. Alright, we're back, and to keep this demonstration simple, what I've done is choose the simplest of conditions to drive the point across. What I've done is choose the same section that I was working with earlier and chose a single conditions, and the condition to display is that if the condition is met, then the widget or section will be displayed. And the condition is pretty simple. The browser should be Google Chrome, which I am on right now. So I've updated the post already, and I've already opened up the final post in a new tab. And based on these conditions, if the browser is Google Chrome, this section should be visible. Let's see if it happens. So scrolling down, I already had that section open up, no surprises there. The recent post or recent episode section is now visible on this particular page. Now let's go back and change the display conditions to something that will obviously return a false output, and that means this should disappear. So let's say I'll take out Google Chrome and I'll set it to maybe Safari, which I am not using right now. Let's update the post. Switching back to the second tab, I'll refresh it. And as soon as the page refreshes, you notice that the section is now disappeared. So the section above it is the typography mistake section, which you can see right here. And below it was the recent episode section, which has now disappeared because the conditions of the UAE widget have not been met. So the demonstration was pretty quick and simple for this particular section, but the options inside the UAE display conditions are not something to be taken lightly. They are pretty powerful and just depends on how you use it, and you can achieve a lot of interesting business goals on your WordPress website. So I've covered all the options. I hope you don't have any questions, because I hope I did a decent job explaining everything. But if you do have any questions, make sure to leave in the comments. And that's it from me. And if you like this video, found some value in this video, make sure to leave a thumbs up and also subscribe to our channel. Hit that bell icon so you can receive notifications about future videos we upload to our channel. And you were listening to Yuvraj from Brainstorm Force. I'll catch you in the next video. Take care.